So you have to have special care. We have had a lot of bad experiences and some good ones too. We're depending on that person to provide good care. So that person has to be mindful of his needs. You're no good to the company if you're no good to yourself and your family. And from that time I started kind of yes, and then to the point where you say, well, family first, family first. They are more important than any job situation. And I say God is going to provide. We went through some rough times, financially and otherwise, but God did provide. He brought us through.
Can you tell us more about how your faith played a part in you working through all of those challenges?
Um, well, you had, first of all, you have to, when you're going through the challenges, you realize how helpless you are in the situation. And as your faith, God talks about, I would never leave you nor forsake you. It says that, in this world you'll have tribulations. There are lots of scriptures about hardships that we'll go through as when you commit your life to God. So, you internalize those because the other option is that you're going to get stressed. You're going to get because you realize that you can't deal with it. You can't deal with the situation. You cannot deal with the situation yourself. You have to depend on God, and God is real. Some people might not believe that, but God is real, and you could sense Him coming along. So in certain situations He worked out for us. You say, well, that has to be God. So you develop a trust, and it's not easy. It's a process because sometimes we tend to look at the situation and say, wow, this is not good. This is not going to work out. But then you look on the Word of God. What does God say about the situation? Even healing. You still believe, and God is able to carry you through. And we say, well, if God doesn't take you out of the situation, He's going to give you the grace to bring you through. And so that's what we found, that God has brought us through. And we're still dealing with issues, right? But we see God's grace, God's faithfulness, He gives you strength when you can carry. He carries you. You cast all the cares upon Him, and it's a daily casting. Cast all the cares upon Him, and of course you have to be involved. You're not going to have a situation and you're just going to lie down and God is going to take care of you. You have to walk through certain situations. And He has brought some people in our lives. We have a family physician that is amazing. I have a therapist who is amazing. So they've been helpful in those situations too.
How have you found that you've developed from when you first, I don't even say when you first became a father, but like when you first experienced these health issues with your children? Mm-hmm. How do you find that you've developed from that point to like where you are right now?
How have I developed? Well, going through this situation, there are times we're human beings. I remember when you were in when they had to, take you by ambulance to Montreal, and then I was Mom was at Torrance. We just got the news that Torrance wasn't doing well. Then I had to be, driving to Montreal in the morning, then driving back to Ottawa. I'll drive to Montreal in the night after work. I'll drive to Ottawa in the morning, then go back. And then Mom was there, with just she and you and Torrance. Those were very dark. And I remember, the tears just coming down, and it's hot, and you really don't care. And they're very dark moments, very, very difficult times. You know, you had several surgeries. Torrance had a couple of surgeries, and so they say that some people say that your circumstances could either draw you closer to God or draw you away, pull you away. Some people get bitter. Why, God? Why do you allow me to go through that situation? You say that you love me, that you have a good plan for me. You have all of this good things. You shall make me the head, not the tail. You shall make me to be above and not below. You shall, you have a lot of promises. There are so many promises. But why am I going through that situation? And so what we found is that even our marriage, it brought us closer because God is faithful. You look at the situation with Job. Job lost his whole family. He lost all his possession in one day. And then, his friends were saying, "Oh, well, you're wicked. you must have done something wrong. You must repent." And Job's response was, the first initially says, "Even though he slay me, yet will I trust him," because God is fundamentally good. That's who He is. He's good. So circumstances do not. It's not an indication of God's goodness. Of God's character. Jesus was on the cross and He died a cruel death, but God is still love.
Hi, my name is Stefan Alexis, conceptual photographer turned YouTuber and the creator of Fatherly Advice. Now, this channel was created to help men of God fill the gap in a world of fatherlessness. On this channel, you'll find fathers from all walks of life share their insights and advice on some of life's greatest challenges. If you'd like to support what we do, you can check out our Patreon where you can find full-length interviews, behind-the-scenes content, my thoughts on the conversations, and much more. You can also support us by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this content to the people that need it the most. So many of us suffer in silence, and you don't know who you could impact with a few simple clicks. Lastly, if you'd like to be a part of this channel, you can check out the description below where you can find instructions on how to contact us. And that's it for now. Enjoy the rest of the conversation.
So when you understand, it helps you in those situations. You say, well, God is not. At the times when you say, well, God, did you punish me for? Are you punishing me for something? Did I do something wrong? Maybe as a kid I did something wrong, or maybe I did something. These thoughts go through your head, and I've had those thoughts over and over again. Is that a punishment for something? And there's another story. There was a situation in the Bible where there was somebody who was sick, and the people asked, well, whose sin was this? Was it his father or his mother? And then the apostles said, well, neither one of them. It was for God's glory. And we just have to come to that understanding that even though we go through difficult times, God is still good. God still has a good plan. Our future is still secure in God. And those, you have to internalize those, because that's the truth, basically. We talk about truth. What is truth? What God said is truth. So you have to you internalize those. So over time, you walk through, and it's a process. You walk through those situations, you walk through those feelings, and you feel yourself, you saturate yourself with them, because the battle is in the mind. If you don't renew your mind according to what God says, then you're going to say, well, God is not good. God is punishing me. God doesn't love me. And the idea of God's love is a difficult one, because when you're going through difficult times, how does a loving God show His love when you still He allows you? Say, well, God, He could have healed Torrance. He didn't have to go through that. He could have healed you, from that accident that we had. He could have stopped the accident. But things happen, and we don't understand all of it. But we have to come and live by faith. He said, "The just shall live by faith." So we have to still believe that in the midst of those situations, God is love. And then It really helps you through, because then you're not trying to answer all the questions. You're not trying to answer the difficult question, because we're not able to answer the difficult questions. But faith that God is bringing us through, and where we start is not a destination. God is taking us as a process. It's a process. So when we hear, we might be having difficulties here, but God, this is not where we're going to end, because God is taking us through to a different outcome. So it's a progression.
Have you seen purpose in why some of these things have happened so far?
Um, I believe that there is purpose. I believe that there is purpose. With They say that God never wastes a suffering, or suffering is never wasted. He even told Paul, "Come, look at the things that you have to suffer for me. If you suffer with me, you will reign with me." I look at you and all the difficulties you've been through, and I believe that those things have helped to shape and continue to shape who you are. And then God has a greater plan. So I see that God is working through something that you have been through. Most of your friends at school and people haven't been through those situations, and so God is using those situations for greater good. And they say God is always working on something greater than we could imagine. Even for Torrance, he doesn't know he can't help himself. But I believe that even in that situation, God is working things. He uses that situation. Even that thing, caring for Tor. I mean, it has opened doors. It has. Some people's eyes are open to see. Even to understand what a family goes through. So I believe that there is purpose. You might not understand it, but you see glimpses of that. That God has purpose in all of that. Yeah.
Any resources that you found helpful? You mentioned counseling and stuff, but any other resources in terms of even navigating the healthcare system or taking care of yourself or your family members? Like, what things did you use to make things a little easier on you as you went through this?
I don't think that I think that we kind of figured some things out. Mom and I kind of figured some things out ourselves. I know this self-care thing has been, like the therapist is very helpful. You have to look after yourself. You ask her, well, what are you doing? What did you do? What did you do this week? What are you planning to do are you planning to walk more often? How is your photography? How is your music? So she always asks this question. So yeah, some things we figured out ourselves, like, okay, you might go online and kind of read through things. But yeah, so I think our therapist has been really good. Our family doctor has been really good. Like our family, like siblings, family, sometimes sometimes they don't understand what you're dealing with on a daily basis until they see it. But I think by and large, it was maybe just mainly those two situations. And of course, the family, our family is very tight. We look after each other, and then we kind of help each other along. So yeah.
Cool.
But now, sorry, if I could interject.
Of course.
There is recently we just subscribed to this webinar. It's a 6-week six different sessions where I talk about people burnout and navigating the system, building community. So there's the information is now, there's more information out there to help families like that. At one time there was even going through the changes with the system, for Torrance living school, becoming from pediatric to adults. I mean, there wasn't very much help there. So now I think that there is more. And what we have to do too is to be deliberate in seeking help. Yeah.
Who ran the webinar?
It was sponsored by Ontario Caregivers Organization, OCO, and another group. There was a lady, I'm not too sure who she was, but it was a volunteer, and then she did the yeah, it was sponsored by Ontario Caregivers Organization, OCO. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Last question. What advice would you give to somebody trying to navigate the healthcare system?
Oh boy. Yeah, the healthcare system could be confusing and difficult. One of the things that I would say is to well, of course, if you try to educate yourself as much as possible on what's there, what's not there. You have to be consistently, I won't say aggressive, but you have to push.
You have to be assertive.
You have to be assertive. You have to be proactive. You have to engage the personnel, like the doctors, the nurses. You have occupational therapists. You have physiotherapists. You have to, like in our case, you have to be resolute, because they might tell you something. Like we have a situation where Torrance had a bit of a injury in his leg, and after 6 months we're not seeing any progress. So you have to be persistent. Ask the hard questions. Don't let them tell you, well, this isn't going to work, because it's an easy way out. Another thing that you should do is to network. Build a good network. So you network with the people. So this one might all get, like in our case, we have a case manager. So you always being in contact, you always communicate. Communication is very important. Bring the issues up regularly, and you don't lay back, because if you're not assertive, then things don't get done. So I think those are some of the main things that we have to do to kind of yeah. Even then, it's a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, Dad, thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a lot to
A lot to unpack.
brought up a lot of things that I haven't thought of about in the past.
Yeah, and I learned a lot. I actually learned a lot too. I heard some stuff I haven't heard before.
Yeah, oh really? Wow.
Yeah, so that was cool. All right, thank you, Dad.
My pleasure. God bless you.